Helen and Tatum, take it away whenever you're ready.
Okay, sounds good. I guess we'll just start. Seems like we have a lot of people already. And so welcome everyone to our Admitted Student Week's March panel. So today we're gonna have our Undergraduate Research Panel, and then we'll be we'll be co-leading this with WISCIENCE presenters, and especially also WISCIENCE Research Peer Leader Program. And we'll do introduction later. But first of all, let's talk about or introduce our facilitators. Okay, thank you. So first of all, my name is Helen, or you can also call me Eding. I'm a senior majoring in genetics and Italian. It's a weird combination, but I'm loving it. I also have certificate in global health and leadership. Besides being CALS ambassador, admitted student chair, I'm also a WISCIENCE research peer leader. And as for my research, I work at Professor Hassan Khatib's lab at Department of Animal Sciences, and my research has been related to epigenome editing using CRISPR-Cas9 system and also nutritional epigenetics. Okay, I'll pass it on to Tatum and also Plea.
Hi everyone, I'm Tatum, and just like Helen, I'm also senior studying genetics and I'm a CALS ambassador. I've been working in Dr. Keller's lab on campus since my freshman year. I've been working with a bunch of different species of toxic fungus that can infect people and animals. And I've done a lot of different projects with a bunch of these species, but most of it has been dealing with a lot of population genetic stuff. But I really love research on campus, and I'm excited to talk to you all about it today.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Plia Zhang and I'm the Prospective Student Services Coordinator. So I coordinate the Visit Day programs for the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, or CALS for short, and I also supervise the CALS ambassadors. I'll just be hanging out in the background today, but feel free to put your questions in the chat throughout the presentation. If you have any, Tatum will be monitoring the chat, and I hope you enjoy our session today. Thank you for being here.
Awesome. Thank you, Tatum and Plea, for introducing herself. And now we'll move on to our WISCIENCE presenters, Amber and Katie. Oh, either one of you can start. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, I can get us started. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amber Smith. I'm the Associate Director at WISCIENCE, and WISCIENCE is actually a long acronym that stands for the Wisconsin Institute for Science Education and Community Engagement. So as part of my role there, I oversee our research mentor and mentee training programs. And so you might come to talk to me about if you're interested in getting into research, and I'll share a little more about that later. I also direct our biological interactions summer research program. So really delighted to be here today. So I'll pass it off to Katie now.
Hi everyone, my name is Katie. I'm a junior majoring in global health, botany, and environmental studies with a leadership certificate. I'm currently a research peer leader through the WISCIENCE program, and I am currently in two labs, the environmental design lab with mentor Samuel Dennis, where I study human environmental interactions. And then I'm also a part of a plant genetics lab on campus that observes the genomics properties of cranberries.
Awesome. Thank you guys, and welcome too. Okay, we'll pass it on to our panelists who will be sharing their research stories, research experience later in the Q&A session. So first of all, it's Didi.
Hi everyone, my name is Didi. I am a sophomore and I'm majoring in both nutritional sciences and life science communication. The research lab that I'm in, I joined my freshman year, and it's Laura Hernandez's lab in the Department of Animal Sciences. And it's super cool. Basically, the lab talks about how lots of mothers develop depression either during pregnancy or after pregnancy. And the way to treat that is with antidepressants. But these antidepressants tend to deplete or lower the calcium levels in their breast milk. which could affect the child. So like that's kind of what we're studying through mice, which is really cool.
Awesome, thank you. And then our next panelist is Jiahong.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Jiahong. I'm a junior in cals majoring in Ag and Applied Econ, Environmental Studies, and with a certificate in Japanese. And when I was a sophomore, when I was a sophomore, I was accepted into the URS program, which is a program I will be talking to all of you, in the next few minutes. And I work with Professor Daniel Preston in the aquatic ecology lab on the effect of land use on the diversity of macroinvertebrates in local urban ponds in Madison, Wisconsin. And currently I'm working with Professor Stephen Deller in the Department of Ag and Applied Econ to map the supply chain for UW Dairy Innovation Hub project to see how the COVID-19 pandemic impacts the dairy farmers in Wisconsin.
Thank you, Jiahong. And so we will listen to more about your stories later in the Q&A session. So first of all, let's go into our presentation. So I'm just going to give an overview of how our panel is going to be today. So first of all, we're going to have our WISCIENCE presentation on introduction to like undergraduate research at UW-Madison. And then we're going to briefly talk about a program that Jiahong was involved in called the Undergraduate Research Scholars, or URS, and also the Honors in Research program offered by our CALS college. And then after that, we'll have student stories. So our panelists, our facilitators, and also the WISCIENCE presenters, we're all going to share about our research experience. And then after that, our attendees today, feel free to ask any questions you have about research or about our specific like personal research experience. Okay, and then now let's go ahead to welcome our WISCIENCE presenters on our presentation. So Amber, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Yiding. So I wanted to share just briefly about WISCIENCE because it's a program that is really focused on helping students to get involved in STEM at UW-Madison. As you'll see here, we have kind of 4 big components to our programming. We have research, leadership, service and outreach, and then community. And so through each of these areas, we are hoping to help students to be successful in STEM through these specific types of professional development. We offer a variety of courses. Some of them are really great for incoming first-year students, so things like exploring research, exploring biology. We also have programs like our Impact Peer Leader program that you can get involved in early on in your career and then continue to work in different programs throughout in multiple places within WISCIENCE throughout your career. We offer some programs. So again, for incoming students, we have a STEM immersion program, which is an orientation program that will happen during August before you come to campus. And the main goal there is to really help you to meet other students interested in STEM, start to build that community, but then also to give you really good resources for how to navigate being at a large institution. You know, how do you take notes in a class that maybe has hundreds of students, those sorts of things. And then finally, I just wanted to note our Biocommons space. So this is part of the Steenbach Library, and it's both a physical and virtual resource center for STEM students. So there's lots more to learn on our website, which is wiscience.wisc.edu. I'd also be happy to answer any of your questions or get you connected to the right person. So thank you.
Awesome, thank you very much, Amber. So now we'll pass it on to our introduction to undergraduate research at UW-Madison. Okay, yeah, we can pass it on to the next slide. So first of all, I do want to mention that our UW-Madison is a research powerhouse. There are a lot of different kinds of research going on campus with different people studying different things. So this is a huge strength of UW-Madison that stems from its size, from its high caliber faculty, staff, and students. So I apologize that all the pictures are overlapping, but I'll go through briefly about like some of the research happening here. So we do have like cranberry research that Katie isn't involved in. We have like geology research, food science. We also have influenza Research Institute. And there's also like studying about like canine, about infant, and even like video gaming research, which is really cool. And also beside all these scientific research, there's also humanities, there's also history research, and there's also anthropology research. So you can see there are abundant opportunities and many research foci you can choose from. Okay, and now we can pass to the next slide. So before we go into any details about how you can find research and why you should participate in research, why don't we all like start to brainstorm on like 2 questions. First of all, what do you think research is? And second of all, what are the benefits of participating in research? And then you guys can either shout it out or type in the chat of like your answers, and then we'll go through them together later. Yeah, so it's fine. So these are like some examples of benefits. I guess if anyone, any attendees and any of our like incoming students, would you guys want to share on your thoughts on this? Like, what do you think research is? What do you see like the benefits of doing research for you?
For me, I think probably the biggest thing for research is that I'm in a lot of science classes and have been since high school. And research has actually been able to let me like see like everything that I have been learning and apply it to real life situations and do real life techniques and stuff like that, which is a really cool way of like not only learning something, but then understanding it and actually doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely a great answer and is really true. And anyone else wanna share? I guess if no one else wants to share, we'll just go through this briefly. So I guess research is basically like exploring the field you're interested in and do some really not fancy, but like really fun work that'll deepen your knowledge, deepen your interest in this field. And then as for like the benefits of participating in research, so first of all, gaining like a deeper understanding of the area of your research is definitely one of the benefits. So for example, if I'm interested in genetics, there are like so many different areas of genetics. And if I pick one that I'm super interested in, doing research will help me to get a deeper understanding of what this area is. Like for me, it's epigenetics. First of all, I didn't even know what epigenetics is, but by like doing more stuff in my lab, reading more papers in my lab, I get a better understanding of what epigenetics is and how it is important to our health, to our life, and to our like even future generations. And then as a second one is that you can gain hands-on skills with current research tools and techniques. So for sure you can get into a lab, you can do some really cool like hands-on experience, like hands-on experiments. Like you can do pipetting, you can run a gel, you can do qPCR. Maybe for chemistry side, you can do like dilution, purification, something like that. But other than that, you can also learn some really cool like computer side techniques, and you can do data analysis. You can learn how to make like programming models. These are all super cool like hands-on skills that you can learn. And also we can definitely develop verbal and written skills. So doing research, this is like a whole process incorporated with like writing proposals, papers, and also doing presentations. So it definitely helps you to develop those professional presenting and writing skills. And also you'll be able to meet new people. This is not just about like meeting professors you're going to work with, meeting like grad students, PhD students that will lead you in your project. You can also meet like your peers. Like there are many students doing like either similar research or like different research than you, but you can all meet together because of this like common interest in research. You can all like talk about it, just share like knowledge with each other. So it's a really nice way to branch out to more people and like just make more friends. And also it's a good way to challenge yourself, so that because research is definitely like really different from what you do in like taking classes, doing homework. It's something like it takes a lot of independent work. So that one major thing you will do during your research life is basically doing your independent project. And this is where you can challenge yourself by like generating your own research idea, generating your own research question, and develop a whole method to test out your hypothesis, to figure out the answers to your question. So this is a really nice way to challenge yourself if you have like the curiosity, if you have the courage to do that. And also you'll definitely receive mentoring about careers and education. So the grad students, the PhD students, they've all been through this process of going from like undergraduate to graduate school. They can give you like definitely about their advice on how to pursue like higher education, how to do your grad school application, but also your PI and some other people like lab technicians can also share with you what other career choices you can choose. Like if you don't want to go to like deeper or like more advanced education, you can definitely go for jobs. And this is participating in research. It's definitely give you a way to meet more people that have more expertise, more knowledge in this, so you can get more advice and guidance from. Okay, and then for sure you can practice like skills employees look for. So like beside the independent research skills that you can get, and also the communicating skills you can get, you'll definitely learn to do like a lot of work in a group and in collaboration with others. So this is a good way to practice your interpersonal communicating skills, and also collaboration and building like connections with other people. And also I do want to mention like research is not limited to just one group of people, or I should say like we have so many different people in like one single area studying together. There are like different ethnicity, different like nationalities. Like for example, my lab, we have 2 American students, and then we have 1 Chinese student, which is me. We also have 2 students, 2 grad students from Nigeria. So there's a lot of like diversity among this area, so that you can also learn how to like honor culture, or honor like the differences between each other. So these are all like really important skills that employers will look for in your future career. And lastly would be like try out something new and see if it fits. So like even though maybe now you're interested in either like animal sciences, you're interested in like maybe agriculture, but like it doesn't mean you have to always go into this field to like do research. You can always try something else. Like maybe you read something about like microbiology that sounds pretty interesting, like doing something with bacteria, doing something with like fungi. You can also like try out to see maybe this will be like your future research path. So like this is all doing research help you to branch out to like things you probably have never thought before, but they eventually become your major passion and major interest. Okay, nice. So now we finished this part, and I'll pass it on to Katie, and she will talk to you about some frequently asked questions that students normally ask about like research.
Hey everyone, so let's get into some FAQs. So is there a place where I can find a list of researchers looking for and recruiting undergraduate students? So yes, while it's not possible to technically track what professor is looking for students, you can find potential researchers that you want to work for by going onto departmental websites. We also have this thing called the Wisconsin Discovery Portal, which Yiding will talk about later in the presentation, where you can look for researchers and what they're studying, and you can narrow down who you want to study with through that portal as well. And also the best way to find out about who is looking for researchers or undergraduate researchers is to email and ask. This is how I have basically obtained every laboratory position that I've had experience in. And sometimes a professor may not be, they didn't know that they needed an undergraduate researcher, but then you reach out to them and you're like, hey, I'm really interested in what you're doing. I think I'd be a great fit for your lab. And yeah, then they might see like, oh yeah, this person would be a great fit. And I think an undergraduate researcher would be a really great addition to my lab. So the best way is to reach out and find people that you're really interested in and interested in their work. The next question is, can I only participate in research if I have previous research experience? Definitely not. Everyone starts somewhere. In fact, a lot of researchers like to kind of recruit underclassmen, because if you get recruited for a research lab in, let's say, your freshman year, they know that you're gonna maybe stick around for your whole 4 years at the school. So then you can get really just like long-term training in the research lab. And yeah, you can become really skilled at what you're doing there. And faculty like and enjoy working with students. So there's definitely opportunities to get involved in research if you don't have previous research experience, because all of us here today, we definitely started somewhere. So yeah. So does doing research only consist of working in a wet lab? Absolutely not. There's so many, and you'll see this more and more as you go through your college years, but there are so many ways to get involved with research. Personally, I have been involved with wet labs, dry labs, which is I've been involved in research in the humanities, which involves mainly like doing literature reviews, finding articles on the internet, that kind of stuff. I've also done fieldwork through, I took a course called ecology, and we did a lot of fieldwork where we went out to local water bodies in Madison, and we did fieldwork there. So there are a lot of different options, and you kind of just find what works for you and what mainly people are doing in your field. It kind of varies depending on the field you're in. Let's say you want to get involved in conservation biology, you might be doing a lot more field work than someone who would be doing, let's say, sociology research, because sociology research may primarily be doing conducting literature reviews. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. So is enrolling in independent research credits the only way I can participate in research? Yes. Well, no, sorry about that. Yeah, you could absolutely enroll in independent research credits, but that is not the only way that you can participate in research. Personally, I usually, all the research positions I've had, I've gotten paid through work study to participate in. But then next year when I'm doing my senior thesis, I will be enrolling in independent research credits. So you can kind of do a combination of whatever kind of works for you. You can enroll in research course credits, research as a part of the course, like Bio 152. Like I said previously, I took honors ecology, and we did there's a huge research component for that class. So you may take classes throughout your time here that involve a lot of research as well. You can also volunteer. You can do volunteer positions. And then from personal experience, I've done hourly positions through work study, and I have also gotten a fellowship as well. So I get a stipend to do research. So it's really what works for you and works for the lab. So it's definitely something to consider and to look into when you're getting involved in research.
Awesome. Thank you, Katie, for all these great explanations to the questions. So now we're just going to briefly go through the general steps or the process for finding a research mentor or research experience. And then we go to the next slide. Yeah, so first step is to narrow down your research interest. So even though you have like a basic major, you have a basic like area you're interested in, like biology, or you're interested in like animal science, and there are just like so many different like specific areas within this big area. So if you want to find out which specific area you're truly interested in, you definitely have to narrow down your research interest. So that there are many ways you can do that. You can do it based on your like major, based on your academic interest. You can also do it based on your maybe like personal experience, or even like from like personal connections, like someone else is doing something really interesting and you said, oh, it's kind of like related to me and I feel like I'm interested in that too. So maybe you want to explore deeper into this specific field. And then yeah, this will definitely help you to find like even though there are like a bunch of researchers doing biology things, there are probably only like a few of them doing the specific area you're interested in. So narrow down your interest will help you to find the right lab, the right PI you want to work with. Okay, and then the next step would be identify researchers or your potential research mentors on campus. So as Katie said, we don't have a list of like researchers who are recruiting, who are finding undergrads to work with them. But so now this is your step to do it. So we have like a list of websites that you can use to find mentors who are doing research in the area you're interested in, and also who are like recruiting students. But on all these details, you have to like dig it out yourself. There won't be like a list of them just like posting emails or like sending emails every day, say, hey, I'm recruiting. It's not gonna happen. And also don't worry that we'll like send out either the presentation or we have some other ways that you can get these links or like these websites. So don't be afraid, like it don't disappear. We'll like talk about it later. But like the discovery portal is the main one we're gonna use. It covers like researchers on campus from across different departments. So even though you're like dairy science student, you won't have to only look at researchers in your department. You can also like look at researchers in your with their research interests across the whole campus in different departments. So that's a really nice way. We also have UW Expert Guide, which has a lot of also like on-campus and off-campus researchers who have their information on there, and then you can definitely contact them to see if you can get like a research position. And UW departments, we just talk about, we can like go through our each major's department to look for researchers who are doing research you're interested in. And also we have UW Research Centers. This also like incorporates a lot of research centers either around campus or like off campus that have collaborations with the UW-Madison that you can also be involved in, like for doing research. And also we have grad school program. This is kind of like similar to the UW departments, but there are mentors whose work won't specifically be related to undergrad. So that grad school is also like an option you can do to find more mentors or researchers. And then also lastly, we have student job centers. There are like job listing or job posting by like different labs on there. So you can also go for that. Okay, and then next step would be, so after you find all the researchers you're interested in, you maybe make a list of them, you maybe put them in like a spreadsheet to get to like record all these informations about them, about these researchers. Next time you want to do is to reach out to them. So what is like one professional way to do that? It's definitely like writing emails. So before COVID time, we do have like cases that you can just walk into a professor's office and say, hey, I'm really interested in your lab. Could you like tell me a little bit more about that? And then sometimes the professors will just say, yeah, let's go ahead. We'll give you like a lab tour. And then you just got into the lab. But then during COVID time, it's not really realistic to do that. So that we definitely recommend you to do to write professional letters to your potential mentors. And then we can go to the next slide. So we do have like a lot of email tips, and then like specific question prompts you have to answer in your email. Like, what is the purpose of your email? Are you looking for research opportunities? Are you maybe like asking for like a research course? Or like, and then the second, which is like the most important thing you have to include in your emails, like why you're interested in their research. It shouldn't be just like, oh, I saw like your research is into this area and I'm really excited. I'm interested, that's all. No, you can't do that. You have to go detail, like why specifically you're interested, which project you're interested in, why is the case you're interested in. Does it related to your like maybe future plans? Does it maybe related to how you can further improve your maybe academic interest? So all these things that can matter to show that you're really interested in their lab is all like the answer should all be like the answer to this question. And then so other than that, you can also talk about like your time commitment, something you want to like do to get your work reimbursed, like doing credits, doing like getting paid, or like doing volunteering. And then lastly, you also want to know that like if you can get an interview. So like you will definitely like ask like, I would love to have an interview with you if you have time to talk about like maybe my potential opportunity to work at your lab. So we also have example emails provided by our WISCIENCE Research Peer Leader Program, but we'll talk about that later. Okay, let's go to the next one. So yeah, as for mentioning about like interviewing after the emailing, like if the professor or the researcher think, oh, you seems like a good fit to our lab, they would definitely invite you for an interview, for like a formal or like maybe semi-formal interview to talk about why you're interested in that, maybe some potential positions you can take on in their lab. So a pretty big part after the emailing is like to prepare for these interviews. Like you definitely need to get fully prepared to impress them. But the most important thing beside your academic knowledge would definitely be like your passion, your interest, your devotion to work with them to explore further in this field. you should like exhibit all these like qualities during your interview to like impress the researchers and make them say, yes, I want you. Okay, and then next one, yeah, so as I just mentioned, what do mentors look in mentees? So they definitely look for like enthusiastic students, and also their interest in their research. They don't want just one student just come here, oh, I'm really interested, just generally, like not specifically, just I like it, that's it. But then they want someone who say, oh, I really like this part of your research, it seems really cool, I like the technique you're using, I like how you think of how you can relate all these things to a research question. They can see like how the student can be a pretty good fit for their lab if they're enthusiastic, if they're interested, if they're passionate. And also they want to see the student that value the research experience. They don't want to see students who just come here to like maybe look for a recommendation letter or just for like a simple line on their resume. They want someone who can devote their time, devote their interest, devote their like passion to research, so that they can see they see like the values of their research experience being in their life. Yeah, so yeah, I guess this is a really brief, like quick overview of the process of finding mentors. But our WISCIENCE Research Peer Leader program, we do offer a lot of different kinds of like service that will help you to go thoroughly through this process, and even like give you individualized service through this process. And I'll pass it on to Amber to talk about it.
All right, thank you. So we have many resources at WISCIENCE, as Yiding was alluding to. Our Find a Mentor video series is a step-by-step video series that can help walk you through some of what Yiding and Katie already talked about, but it'll be nice because you can like watch the short video and then do the task that we've been describing there. Our Find a Mentor workshops are a more interactive version of kind of what you just saw here, and really an opportunity to get some of your detailed questions answered. Finally, the Research Peer Leader drop-in hours. I highly recommend these. Our peer leaders are amazing and have a wealth of information and experience. They're really able to answer your questions in a way that's really tailored to whether it's helping you find a mentor or, you know, even if you have an email draft and you're not sure if it's quite right, they can give you feedback. So highly recommend those. And then I also wanted to share just a touch about our research-based courses. So Integrated Science 150, Exploring Research, is a 1-credit seminar, and it's really tailored for students who are interested in doing STEM research, but haven't quite figured out maybe the area they're interested to do the research in. And so in this class, we'll help you to build some skills that will be transferable to any type of research that you do. And then we also offer a really tailored process to help you find a mentor. Once you have a mentor, we'd love to have you come back and take Entering Research, and we have parts 1 and 2 of that. Again, these are 1-credit seminars, and they're meant for students who currently have a research project. And the goal of these courses is to help you navigate coming into this new research environment, help you to create a good relationship with your mentor, so aligning expectations and communicating. But we also go over things that are important to being a researcher in STEM. So we talk about things like diversity and ethics in STEM. We help you to refine your science communication skills and to consider like what makes you feel really confident and how to build on that. So we'd just love to see you in our classes. And again, if there's more specific questions, I'm happy to take those later. Or you can email me. There you go.
Awesome. Thank you, Amber, for introducing all these amazing resources. And now we're going to pass on to our introduction to the Undergraduate Research Scholars Program, which is URS. And I'll pass it on to Tatum to talk about it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so another great program to mention is URS, which is the Undergraduate Research Scholar Program. And it's a 1-year program for first and second year students at UW who are interested in research. And it's a way to learn about like what research is, to figure out and develop different skills related to your field of research, but it also allows you to develop skills that are just related to research itself, like critical thinking and communicating. And so this program is really interesting. There's like a few big components that you're involved in. Yeah, on the next slide. First of all, the scholars get matched with UW faculty mentors that they engage with research in. And they're also, the URS scholars also get peer mentorship from 2 fellows. The fellows are upper class URS scholars who also lead weekly seminars, which the URS scholars are a part of as well. And so the weekly seminars are the second component of URS, and in this, the fellows present on various topics relating to research as a way to just further develop those skills. And then at the end of the year of research, all the scholars present at the undergraduate symposium about the work that they've been doing for the past year. And so one thing to mention is that URS is sponsored or put on by the College of Letters and Science. So a lot of you guys might be interested in CALS majors, but even if you're not pursuing a major in letters and science, you can still be a part of URS. And so one of our panelists tonight, Jia Hong, is a part of URS. So in the panel Q&A, he should be able to answer any questions that you guys have about this program.
Awesome. Thank you, Tatum. And now we'll pass it on to Plia, who will talk about CAL's Honors in Research Program.
Thank you. So another really unique opportunity for Cal students, if you're interested, is the CALS Honors Program. So the CALS Honors Program helps students develop critical thinking, problem-solving abilities through the challenge of designing, conducting, and reporting their own research in collaboration with a UW faculty member. So there's 2 tracks. So we have Honors in Research, which we'll talk about today, and then there's also Honors in Major. So that's also a really good program too if you're interested in taking courses for honors credit. For the honors in research, you will engage in a multi-year research project with the UW faculty. You'll take seminars to complement your lab experience, and also get to present your work and work on your senior thesis. You'll also get honors designation at graduation. To apply for the program, so I put the criteria here. So for new freshmen, you just need to meet one of the 3, but we understand that with the pandemic, some students aren't able to take their ACT or SAT tests. So we have that criteria there. You just need to meet, in the past, you only had to meet just one of those 3. So either be top 10% for your high school class, ACT of 28 or higher, or SAT of at least 1240. But because we know that with the pandemic, it has caused disruptions with standardized testing. So as long as you submit a personal statement, and in your personal statement, you share with us why you're interested in the program and doing honors and research, we will evaluate that. And then if you're interested, we encourage you to apply right away. The application is open right now. And I know when you apply, it may ask you for a UW-Madison email. And since as admitted students, you don't have your UW-Madison email yet, but you can definitely put in your personal email on there, and it should still work, and you should still be able to submit that form. And if you are interested, but you're not really sure, you want to think about it for a little bit, you can apply when you are a freshman or sophomore in college. And then when you apply then, the only requirement is that you have a cumulative GPA of a 3.25 and also submit a personal statement explaining why you'd be interested in the program. And on our last slide here, we just want to highlight the program requirements and what it looks like. Dee Dee is also doing honors and research, and so is Helen too. So if you have any questions about that, you can definitely ask them. So once you're admitted to the program, you must make satisfactory progress toward the program requirements and maintain that 3.25 GPA. So for your first year, you will identify a faculty mentor. By the spring of freshman year, you'll start to work with your faculty mentor that is appropriate for the discipline. So this may include assigned reading, beginning a laboratory or fieldwork, or a mixture of both. And you'll also take the CALS Honors Seminar, which is Interact 288 for 1 credit in the spring. Your sophomore year, you will conduct an introductory research project. You'll continue development of your research skills. You will present your research results at an appropriate research forum. And then you'll also enroll in the CALS Honor Seminar, Interact 388 for 1 credit in the spring. Once junior year comes along, you'll submit a 5-page research proposal about what research project you want to do. And then you'll also apply for funding to support your senior honors thesis. And you'll also enroll in another seminar, which is Interag 488 for 1 credit. Finally, in senior year, you will continue to do your research, produce your thesis, and then present the results of your work at a public forum. So this can include the undergraduate symposium that is hosted by campus every spring. Your senior year, you will also enroll in 2 semesters of the Senior Honors Thesis course, which is Interact 681 and 682. If you don't enroll in the Senior Honors Thesis, you can also enroll for a 699 course in your mentors department that is equivalent to a minimum of 2 credits each semester. And then finally, you will submit your thesis and it will be reviewed by a committee. And once you complete all the program requirements, then you will get that honors designation on your transcript.
Okay, thank you, Plia, for the detailed introduction on CALS Honors and Research. And yes, me and Didi are both in the CALS Honors and Research program. And I also want to mention Katie is also a part of our CALS Honors and Research program. So later, if you have more questions on it, you can feel free to ask any of us. So now we're gonna go to our student story session for each of our panelists, facilitator, and presenter to talk about their research stories, like maybe a detailed introduction about how you find your research, why you find your lab, why you like going to your lab, and then what kind of research you're doing right now. Yeah, I guess we can start with Tatum.
Okay, cool. So as I said, I started researching my first semester here on campus, and I decided to go into research because I knew that there was like a lot of genetics work in research, and I kind of wanted to explore different aspects of what I could do with my degree. And so I did pretty much what you just heard about in the presentation. I went onto the genetics department website and I looked at all the professors' research, and I just started emailing professors. And Nancy Keller, the woman who I work for right now, she emailed me back. And one of the postdocs that worked in her lab was looking for an undergraduate to mentor. So I started working with him. So Nancy Keller is one of my mentors, but I also work under a postdoc student as well. And I've been doing like a bunch of different projects all with fungus for the past 2.5 years now. I started off doing some genetic modifications of different fungi, and we were just like knocking out some genes and testing to see how that change infection. And then one summer I had an internship with the Food Research Institute, which is also at UW-Madison, that allowed me to work in my lab and actually get paid. And I started doing some work on a species of fungus that's really big for food safety. And I've been doing a lot of work in that realm, and I was able to design some of my own experiments last year, which unfortunately I was not able to complete due to COVID, sending everybody home. But since then, I've still been working at the lab, but now I have been working from home doing some bioinformatic analysis stuff. So I've been learning how to do bioinformatic analysis, and I've been looking at a bunch of genetic data from a bunch of different species. And so I going into research, I definitely was not expecting to be doing anything with fungus or to be doing anything that I'm doing right now. But it's just opened up so many different opportunities, an opportunity for an internship during the summer. I'm also going to be continuing to work at the lab after I graduate in May. And I've met mentors who have really helped me through not just research, but through college as well. And I've met a lot of friends at my lab. So that's just really quickly kind of some of the stuff that I've been working on and some of the benefits from research. And so if you've got any questions, probably not any related to fungus, but if you've got any questions about what it's like to actually be in lab, you can feel free to ask me that as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Tatum. And now we'll pass it on to Didi.
Hi, guys. So for me, I started research my second semester of my freshman year, so about a year ago, a little bit over a year ago. And I am in honors in research, as Plea said earlier. And so how I found my connection to my lab was that I was in one of the seminars last year for honors in research, and the professor wrote on the board 2 labs that were looking for undergrad students. I emailed and I did some research on the lab and then was interested, emailed, did an interview, and then got into the lab, which was super exciting. And so what I do in this lab, pre-COVID and now, last semester I didn't go into the lab, but now I'm back in the lab, which is really exciting. I probably go in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for an hour to 2 hours-ish a day. And I work with a graduate student who's trying to get her PhD. So I'm kind of like her little assistant. And so she teaches me a lot of different techniques that we do in the lab to help her with her studies. Something that I've been doing really recently is passaging cells, which is just like a technique. You go into the lab and use pipetting, like plates, kind of probably stuff that you guys have already learned in high school. Another thing I do is run gels, which I'm sure you've also already learned. And then I have read like the lab's papers, which have been cool because I know like what my work is contributing to the rest of the lab. Also with this, I am currently taking another one of the honors seminars, and the professor is super interesting and has so much knowledge because he is the head of a lab. And so he teaches us and gives us advice on what to do in lab, how to make connections, how to read scholarly articles and stuff like that, which is very helpful. So yeah, that's all I have. That's all I've been doing so far, but I really love it and encourage all of you guys, if you're interested in like the science fields, to get in the lab as early as possible. It is a really great experience.
Awesome. Thank you, Didi. And now we'll go to Jiahang.
Okay, yes. So I started with my research experience in UW-Madison since maybe the second semester, but it was not really a research experience because at that time I emailed to like maybe 50 professors and ended up washing tubes in Professor Carolee's lab. I mean, she's an expert in evolutionary biology and she was super nice, but that was not what I wanted. So I applied for URS, which is Undergraduate Research Scholars Program, and I got accepted in my sophomore year. So it was a really big help because even though I still need to, like students still need to apply for different labs, even they got into the URS program, but professors like provides a lot of opportunities to URS students. Like they treat students a little bit differently if you are URS students or students with like totally no experience. So that's how I got into Professor Daniel Crescent's lab with a research focused on aquatic ecology or freshwater ecology. And during my sophomore year, I did an independent research project with Professor Preston, like a mini project, mainly focused on data analysis and sample collection and process. So when the COVID-19 hit the university, Professor Daniel Preston just suspended all the undergrad research projects, so as well as my project. So I left the Preston lab and went to another research focus on, or another research direction into environmental economics, which is highly related to my AE major. And at that time, I emailed with Professor Stephen Deller and asked him about like if he can provide any kind of like position, like research assistant for me. And he replied to me like very quick, within maybe 20 minutes, and said yes. So I got to like led by him to do some of the independent research projects, as well as the Diary Innovation Hub DIH research project for mapping the supply chain. And yeah, I guess that's my research experience after I went to college. And currently I'm doing an independent research project with Professor Stephen Deller, and I applied to several funds, is either in the university or outside of the university. I think, yeah, basically, I think URS program is a really big help to me. So if you are interested in the URS program, just check out the program website on the UW-Madison official website. Just search URS or Undergraduate Research Scholar Program. It will bump up.
Okay, thank you, Jahan. And then we'll now go to Katie.
Yeah, so to preface this, I'm actually a transfer student, so I came to UW-Madison during my sophomore year, but I actually got involved in research during my first semester of my freshman year of college at my previous university. And I did that so I had a certificate in global health at my previous university, and the advisor for that program, I asked her if there were any professors doing global health research that I could get involved with. And then I joined a project that studied transnational organizations and non-governmental organizations. So that was through a sociology department where I was primarily conducting literature reviews and just doing some coding work. Then when I transferred to UW-Madison the following year, I discovered that I really love the plant sciences. So I was really eager to get involved in research in the plant sciences. So for my major, I had a faculty advisor, and I met with him and we kind of talked about research opportunities within the department. And I eventually found the Cranberry Genetics and Genomics Laboratory, where I still currently work, and I got involved there my first semester of my sophomore year. And through that position, it's a really fun position because I get to do a lot of different kinds of work. Over the summer, there are opportunities to do field work and to actually travel to other parts of Wisconsin to do field work with cranberries, but I have never participated in that personally. What I do is sometimes I will work in our research greenhouse, and I will work with plant maintenance tasks, and then other times I do research with cranberry genomics. So I do DNA extractions. I also do, I run gels as well. So it's kind of nice because it's you kind of never know what you're going to be doing next. So I kind of like the variety of different things that I like to do in that lab. And then recently, I'm a McNair Scholar, which is a program on campus that is for students eager to pursue a PhD. And through that program, I have actually found a research mentor in the Department of Landscape Architecture. And through that position, I'm developing my own research project which will serve as my project for the fellowship program and for the honors distinction in research program. And that project is investigating human and environmental interactions during the age of COVID-19. So right now, all of the work is currently online, and I'm currently just doing preliminary research and doing my own literature reviews. But that research will investigate how people have been using public green spaces and public parks during the COVID-19 pandemic. So yeah, so I actually just started on that, and I will be working on that independent project through the end of my senior year.
Awesome. Thank you, Katie. I see we have probably like 4 or 5 minutes left, so we'll just go right into our Q&A session. So anyone has questions, just fire it up and either in the chat or just shout it out. We're more than happy to answer them for you. Okay, I see we have one question. If you apply and are accepted to URS, do you have to commit to doing it? Also, can you leave honors and research without penalty? So I guess as for URS, Jiahang, you can start to answer it, and then we'll go to the honors and research part later.
Yes. Do you have to commit to doing it? Not really. I guess they have a wait list. If you do not want to do the URS program, you just say, I do not want to do the URS program, we'll just let you go and accept the people in the wait list. If that answers the question. Okay.
Awesome. And then as for the honors and research question, Didi and Katie, do you guys want to answer it?
Yeah, so as far as I know, I might not be an expert on this, but I believe that at any point, if I personally decided to leave the program, there wouldn't be any kind of penalty. I think personally, if I chose to do that, I would choose an alternate way to do my senior thesis, so it just wouldn't be a senior honors thesis, and I wouldn't be enrolling in the same amount of research credits. So as far as I know, there is no penalty. It just kind of changes more or less what you do during your senior year.
Yeah, I guess I can also add on that. So all the like faculty for the CALS Honors and Research Program, they're super nice. The professors are all really knowledgeable and super nice. I have so many times I almost feel like I'm gonna like fail the requirement for any like seminar or like my honors thesis like proposal, but then even though I submitted late, they're also, oh, thank you for submitting it. They're like super nice. So I don't think there'll be any problem if you feel like this like doing like an honors along with your school is a little bit too overwhelming. You can definitely talk to them. I don't think it would give you like any penalty for just leaving it. And also leaving the honors and research program doesn't mean you will finish, you won't be able to do research anymore. Like your lab is your lab. Like you do research, you can continue to do research. It's just like your research result won't go into like honors thesis presentation or like going to like a paper for your honors thesis. And also I don't think like senior thesis would be applied to any like all majors, because I know my major, which is genetics, we don't have like a senior thesis requirement. So that, yeah, it's just like some extra information for you to know. Okay, I guess we can go to the next question. So how much prior knowledge do you need to have before, I guess, going to a lab? And then what is the time commitment like for working in a lab? So any panelists want to go for it?
Yeah, I can try answering your question. So as for prior knowledge, really you don't need any prior knowledge. It might be helpful to have some like prior interest in what you're studying, but they're not really expecting you to know anything. They're just expecting you to come in and want to learn. A lot of the times, your mentor or PI is going to want to teach you how to do something the way that they want it to be done. So you really don't need to know any techniques or anything like that. And the time commitment, if you are doing, the time commitment really depends on what you want and what your lab wants. If you are taking credits for the class, typically I've heard that like 1 credit hour should be like 2 to 3 work hours in the lab. So like I've done in the past like 2 or 3 credit hours, and I've worked like 8 to 10 hours in my lab per week. But so that's like a conversation that you have between you and your mentor to figure that out.
Yeah, to kind of add on to the time commitment thing, I know from personal experience, so my fellowship that I'm in right now requires 10 hours a week that I spend working on an independent project. It definitely also varies if you're, like Tatum said, if you're enrolled in credits, there are a certain amount of hours that you would be typically working for a week. But then also for my paid positions, usually I kind of discuss that with the PI or the lab manager. At the start of the semester, you give them your schedule and you're like, okay, yeah, maybe I'm taking more of a course, greater number of credits this semester. So maybe I can't come in as much as I did the previous semester. So yeah, a lot of people are super understanding and will work around your schedule. So the hours can be very flexible as well.
Thank you, Katie and Tatum. I guess we'll just move on to the next question. I hope the answers the answers like work for your question. Okay. So the next question is how competitive it is to get a research opportunity, and how many undergrads will mentors accept into one lab? Anyone want to take it away?
Yes. I guess it depends on like who your mentor is or who your potential mentor is, because different professors have different like requirements. Sometimes, I mean, for Professor Deller's research project, I just emailed him with 3 sentences, like basically no information, and he just said yes. But for some professors, they require you to take maybe 2nd semester organic chemistry or 2 semesters of biology courses. So I think it depends on like different professors' requirement, but I also there's a percentage on the CAL's official website. I'm not pretty sure, is that 30% or 50% of undergrad CAL students get a research opportunity in the 4 years? Can someone just verify it? I'm not pretty sure, but basically like maybe like 30% of students will get research opportunities during their undergrad years in college. And for the second question, like how many undergrads will mentors accept into one lab? For my labs, I got, for Preston, my labs in Preston with Professor Preston, I'm sorry, we had like 7 to 10 undergrad students in the lab. But for Professor Deller, I'm the only undergrad student, so it also depends on the professor, I guess.
Anyone else want to share?
No problem.
I think Jahang, you're right. I think it is like 50% or something. I think it's 50% of Cal students participate in some kind of research. And I wouldn't say like there's definitely, you wouldn't be able to get into every lab that you want to, just one specific lab all the time. But out of all the experience I've had and watching my friends try to get research opportunities, everybody that really wants to be in research and is open to being flexible about what kind of research they want to do, gets a position eventually. And yeah, as Jahong was saying, the number of undergrads definitely depends on just the size of the lab.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I can definitely like add on to like the second part of the question. So like it definitely depends on how the lab or like the lab PI wants for their lab members. And then so like our lab used to be just my PI, the grad student that leads me in the project, and me. So like just 3 people. But then because our PI feels like it's too small, he started to like recruit more grad students, even more visiting scholars. And this year we had like 2 more undergrads from the URS program in our lab. So at that time I thought, oh, it's probably like too much already. But then I also recommended one of the student who came into our WISCIENCE research peer leader drop-in hours. Like I recommend him to our lab, and then I thought he probably won't be able to get in because there are just a lot of people already. But somehow, yeah, like our PI accepts him still. So now we have like, I don't know, 5 undergrads already. And since I'll be graduating, there will probably be like, he will probably recruit more students. And yes, so like this is also like the case if there are students graduating from a lab, you probably will also have like higher chance to be accepted since just like empty spots are here. Okay, and then the next question is there a deadline to apply for CAL's Honors in Research program? So Katie and Didi.
Not that, so my situation, since I was a transfer student, is a little, I guess, distinct. So I'm not totally sure, but I applied as a second semester sophomore. So this was like a year and a half after I started my undergrad. And yeah, so I joined kind of late in the game, but I was still able to enroll in all of the required seminars and do everything I needed to do for the program. So yeah, that's kind of my personal experience. So I would say, you know, maybe if you didn't apply for it right off the bat and then changed your mind later, I think that you could totally do that. Just based off of my experience kind of joining the program later on in my undergraduate career.
Yeah, I'm also like, I also applied to it during my probably like first or second semester of my sophomore year because I was actually in letter and science college in my freshman year, but then I transferred to CALS, and then my genetics major advisor recommended me to like apply for this program, and then I did it. Even though I joined it late, I just started with all the seminars, and then since I'm already in my senior year, I submit like you can do like submission, no, not submission, but like substitution form to like replace either of any of like the research seminars. Like if you feel you already do enough things in your lab that can compensate for these seminars, you can just submit those like substitution form and then you don't have to be on there. And then I also heard like one of our research peer leaders, he also joined in the honors and research program this semester. So like he's already a junior, but he also applied. And now he just like, he submitted a few like substitution form for the previous seminars he missed. And now he just like right on the track. I think he's taking like the senior seminar, and then he's also started to write down his like senior thesis proposal, and also he's gonna work on his senior project, I think. So yeah, I don't think there's like a deadline, just like as Leah said, there is like rolling admission. So yeah. I don't see any more questions, but if Tatum, Plia, if you see any, you can read it out.
I don't have any questions on my end.
Okay. I see it's already 6:10. If there are no other questions, I guess we'll just end our panel today. But we'll also like stay a little bit longer. So if you do have individualized questions, you can shoot it out to us. So we do want to mention like we have these upcoming events for like our admitted students week. So please check it out. We have on Friday there is the the academic opportunities session at 3 p.m. On Friday. And also next month, we'll also have our Admitted Student Week. We have Monday, like major panels introducing all these majors you can see up here. And then on Wednesday, we'll have a panel that is to help you how to decide on like pick classes, how to study for your classes. And Friday, it's the same, it's the academic opportunities panel. So that beside that, we also have our CALS info sessions on March 25th next week, and then April 8th, and then April 27th. So if you do want more information, you can definitely go to the link we put on here. And if you do have specific questions, either for like WISCIENCE or like for CALS ambassadors, you can email us. I guess WISCIENCE email is not here, but I feel like, can Amber, you put your like email in the chat again? Thank you very much. Yeah, awesome. So I guess that's it. Thank you everyone for attending our panel. I hope we tried our best to answer all your questions and give you enough information. So yeah, but do feel free to like stay a little bit longer if you have more questions. Thank you.